I'm Intruder Green. You might know me from things like Euroblast Festival, Dane County Humane Society, and Dig. Welcome to the Intruder Green podcast. How's everybody doing on this crazy wowie zowie wopsty wobbly world we're living in, where everybody's worried about getting sick and all that stuff? Sorry to bring it up again. I know everybody's probably tired of hearing about it right now. I know I am. Little disclaimer or spoiler alert, whatever you want to call it. Intruder Green got a little sick. I don't know. It was pretty bad. Don't know if it was corona or what, but I would say that regardless of getting the coronavirus or whatever you get these days, it's better to just avoid it at all costs. Well, maybe not all costs. I mean, that's a bold statement. You know what I mean? Like, I would say whatever it takes, but that you could do some fucked up shit trying to avoid the coronavirus, and it might not really be worth it because you could probably beat it and still be okay. But if you commit murder or something, then that's like a thing that you can't. That's like a line that you cross and then you can't go back. Oh, that's fucked up. Anyway, the producers of the Intruder Green podcast are Luke Ellis, Heather Royston, Gem City Sabrina, Vaughn Cotton, Sarah Koenig, Chelsea McNally, Cardboard Box Colony, and Carlos Hernandez. If you guys want to become a producer of the podcast, you just hit me up on a Patreon, patreon.com/intrudergreen. I know everybody is pretty strapped for cash these days with what's probably going to happen with the economy and all that. I don't know if everybody's feeling it already or not, but I know that it's probably going to happen in the near future where people, you got to be smart about your money these days. So I would say the smartest thing to do is, get on that Patreon. Just kidding. But I will take your money if you want to give it to me. So anyway, you can also get me on an Intruder Green call-in line. It's +1 608-535 9608. Leave me a message and maybe I'll play it on the show or whatever. And so on this episode, we got Mrs. Smith. She's we kind of get into it about her looking for her cat. I don't know if she's just always looking for a cat or she just loves cats. She's a crazy cat lady. I mean, she's not that crazy. She's kind of we're all a little crazy, right? We talk a little bit about that on the podcast, but she's a cat lady. She likes the cats, and I'm more of a dog person myself, or maybe like a cool domesticated raccoon. That'd be cool. That's kind of like a halfway point, right? Like a extra cool cat with extra. Don't they wash their hands or something between meals when they're eating out of your garbage? I don't know, something like that. Anyway, it was a good time talking to Mrs. Smith. Didn't really know much about her other than she shreds on guitar and does a lot of prog metal stuff, which to me is amazing. I don't even know how people can do that without dedicating their whole lives to playing guitar and stuff. So the fact that she's just kind of some kind of genius when it comes to music, that's pretty cool. And without further ado, on with the show.
Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Intruder Green,
an inmate at the Durham Correctional Institution. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. To accept charges, press 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Smith on the Intruder Green podcast. All right.
hello, Intruder Green. Hello.
Hello. It's nice to finally meet you. We've never actually met in person, have we?
No, we have not. Of course, I follow you. I follow your band. I also follow Officer Bradford.
Oh, yeah.
And I keep up with your comings and goings on YouTube and Spotify and things like that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I have not had a chance to see your band live yet. But I'm very much looking forward to the spectacle.
Yeah, I hope that we can change that. It's going to be hard to do in the coming months here with all the crazy stuff that's going on. But yeah, and the same to you. I definitely follow you on the social medias and whatnot. And I think actually the first time I knew about you was when you did a little thing on that 2 Minutes to Late Night show, which I guess we kind of have some mutual friends there.
Yes, of course. That's Jordan and Drew and the whole gang over there. I did probably the Guitarist Wanted series. Is that right? Where I auditioned for a band.
Yeah, you were like, you. I think you came in and supposedly the band didn't know who you were. It's hard to tell what's real with those guys because that show is so amazing, and it's like, I don't know, is this all staged? Because I kind of believe it, but that would be hard to pull off at the same time. So it was pretty great though, and enjoyed your guitar playing, and enjoy everything you got going on. Except I wonder if are you still looking for this cat or whatever? I don't even know. I follow you a lot, but I haven't seen so much that you're looking for the cat lately as much as that you just love the cats.
Carlisle is at large.
Oh, shit.
And I have gone through a very intense process with that. There are times when I've only ever looked for Carlisle, where it's been absolutely, I've been myopic, and I've suffered for that. I've spent a lot of time in self-help groups, therapy, and they would say, the self-help group is for instance, this group is for people with drinking problems, not for people with missing cat problems. And I said, well, I feel like my missing cat's going to lead to a drinking problem.
Yeah, but I believe it to be true.
Regardless, he is still at large. And do I say he's missing, or do I say he's not sharing my presence? I've had to reframe it because he is well, he is thriving, he's flourishing. Well, I would say to all my pet psychics, but he's not wanting to be with me.
Oh, snap. I would say at large is the best, probably the best term you could use there, then. That's one I hold near and dear to my heart, definitely. What's that?
You don't like not sharing my presence? You don't like that? The Carlisle is currently not sharing my presence.
Well, that sounds very whimsical, so I guess you could go with that. It's just that, oh, never, not that. Of course not. Being at large is something I've been known to do in the past, and like possibly even right now. So, that's one I definitely can get into. What's that?
I have some questions for you.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's just that I'm worried about you, and I'm worried about this band. I just wonder.
Me too.
How much longer can you keep running?
That's the thing. We don't know. There's only one way to find out, right?
To keep running.
Yeah, you just got to keep on running, staying at large, and doing whatever, like we got hideouts. We're not always, I guess we're all at large if you got a hideout and nobody knows where it is. But, we just keep on going, and like, what's to say, that's, who's to say that's wrong? Like, we got Officer Bradford. He knows where we are sometimes. So there's that.
Well, and I want to pinpoint this a little bit. First, I want to say I don't judge about crime because I'm assuming that all the crimes you've committed in the past are things like, stealing a vase from a millionaire's home, and are they really going to miss it? And I'm sure that you're not breaking windows and terrorizing people. I'm sure these are all the kinds of crimes you would see, for instance, on a Scooby-Doo episode.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo is tight. And usually, we're always wearing masks, except we don't let those damn kids interrupt our plans and take off the mask at the end of the episode. That's the thing. There's no, what do they call them? Like the mystery mobile dudes or whatever. And,
the mystery machine.
Yeah, the mystery machine. But like the group, did they have a name, or was it just... The mystery machine was the van, right?
That was the van, and they were Scooby-Doo, and I don't think their little outfit had a name. It wasn't like Josie and the Pussycats, for instance.
Right. Which Josie and the Pussycats is also tight, but I don't know. It's like maybe if we had Scooby-Doo around right now, we wouldn't be at large so much because they would try to catch us. And I think this could be a good idea for a movie. And maybe James Gunn is listening and he needs to do Scooby-Doo 3 and we could be in it.
Maybe Martin Scorsese is listening, and it could be gritty,
Oh, yeah.
almost like Mean Streets, but with Masked Intruder.
That's true. And he's into that like CGI de-agifying stuff now. So maybe we could get into that too. Make our masks look like we washed them with Tide or something and the colors came back and stuff.
And it's like, it's fun, and there's parts where you're partying, but then somebody says something off, and then somebody shoots you in the face.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the way those movies work. It's real good. I believe that's the way the mob works too, which is like why I think we don't really want to get into the mob. I mean, mob movies is cool and stuff, but when it comes to organized crime, I think we're about as organized as we're gonna get, and that's not very organized. So Scorsese's cool. I like those movies, but they're definitely way too complicated for anything we could try to pull off. But yeah, I like this. I like where we're going with this. And then,
I'm assuming all of your crimes are in the past, and you're now fleeing from the law of these crimes. You're not committing new crimes. Please pledge to me that you're not committing new crimes, Intruder Green. Please.
I would pledge the 5th on that. That's what I would have to pledge. And, it's like, I would definitely say that any crimes I ever committed are only alleged anyway. Even the ones that I may or may not have gone to prison for. So, and
I would gladly be a character witness. I would sit up on the stand wearing all black with a scarf over my head, and I'd say he's a good boy.
I would love that.
Yeah. He brought me flowers.
And I would actually bring you flowers too. That would make both of our days, I think.
And then you would be at the witness stand with your hair very perfectly combed with like pomade in it.
It's always
in
perfectly
a nice
combed.
Suit, which I would buy for you.
Yeah. I always perfectly comb my hair. Usually people can't see it because of the mask, but it's definitely there and it's always perfectly combed. I love that pomade. Yeah, I use it a lot.
As for Scooby-Doo, I don't know about a mascot for you all. Of course, I have Carlisle as my missing mascot, but his presence is there nonetheless, non-corporeal presence. But you have Officer Bradford, and this is what I don't understand. He is pursuing you. His goal is to catch you, and yet he's on stage with you. And so that is very interesting. I find it a very rich experience to watch that.
Well, that's the thing about Officer Bradford is like sometimes he's pursuing us, but then sometimes he's just like our what do you call it, like a PO or a parole officer. I think I heard it called a PO at some parole officer. Yeah, that's what those letters stand for.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly like a parole officer, but kind of like that. Basically, he just has to be with us and make sure we're not committing crimes when we're on tour, and that's the way we get to do that. But other times he really is just trying to chase us down, and we got teamwork going for us, whereas he's just on his own, and he don't get a gun no more because I think the last time he had one was when we shot that music video, and it just slipped out of his hand because he got real drunk, and like I think he shot red. So he don't get that no more. He had some mace one time, but that ran out, and I don't know. Then he just punched me in the face instead. So I don't know. Sometimes he catches up to us, but the system. Lucky for us, the system is broken, so we get to take advantage of that sometimes. It even works out for us sometimes, not just like your Donald Trumps and guys like that of the world.
But I think Intruder Green, I think when people say the system is broken, they mean, for instance, that 1.2 million people are in prisons and there's racially disparate impacts. And I don't think they mean that the system's broken, hooray, kind of charm bandits can get away with crimes on tour.
Yeah, I guess I mean it like the system is broken, hooray, but not for the same reasons. Yeah.
Different reasons. Oh, and I could say on the stand, if he stole anything, he stole my heart.
That's right. I would like that. I would appreciate you saying that. In fact, the fact that you said that on a podcast, I think I could take that sound clip out and just use that anytime I'm being interrogated or whatever in the courtroom. Yeah.
I'm there anytime. Now, another point. Okay, so thank you for clarifying the role of Officer Bradford. I have an idea for a song for your group.
Oh yeah.
Criminal antisocial behavior is accompanied by substance use disorders.
Oh yeah.
And I think you could write a song called Sober House. Officer Bradford could be the sober house manager, right? And there could be all a verse about having to pee in a cup and things like that, and how you're all stuck in this sober house.
Oh yeah, and we're trying to get out. Or
you can't get out. Just keep relapsing.
Oh yeah. I was thinking we try to get out because we want to get booze, but yeah, we keep relapsing. That sounds like a real sad song. But I guess it's more true to life. Maybe when we do like the concept album, when we're all like, I guess every album we do is a concept album a little bit. And they're all 100% serious, but like that one would be extra like brutal. Like remember, I don't know if I know you're like more of a metal type person, but see, we're obviously in the punk rock realm of things. And I remember when Rancid came out with their second self-titled album, and it was like way more hard than the rest of their stuff. And that would be like the one that we do.
And what was it?
What was it? What was what?
What was it? What was the album again?
Rancid? When they did like
they came up with
I don't remember what year it was.
Song.
Well, they came out with a serious album. Well, all the albums are pretty serious, I guess. But like they did one that was like way more harder and stuff. And that would be like us doing that. Oh, are you gonna play some more music?
I have an idea for a song for you, okay?
Oh, that sounds great. I would love to hear it.
Ready?
Yeah.
His name's Intruder Green. He's the one who cannot ever be seen.
Yeah.
And he walks alone.
Right.
He's the only one. He walks alone. This is for your solo album. His name's Intruder Green. Intruder Green is Intruder Green. Something like that. Something catchy.
I am Intruder Green, so that's also true to life. I like it, and it sounds a little bit like a Green Day song, but I think I could get away with it because they rip off Green. Yeah, exactly. It's Green's Day. I think that's the name of the song.
Just change create a band and call it Intruder Green Day.
That's what I should probably do. You're right. Would that be a solo project? I don't know. It's too early to tell. But I like the idea, and I will definitely use that. I'm glad we're recording this because you're coming up with all sorts of ideas that I need to utilize, especially in the age of Corona when nobody can do nothing, like going on tour. Has this affected you, by the way, the whole Corona outrage that's going on? Like,
yeah.
Yes,
and I think we should talk about it only a little bit, simply because I think this is an opportunity to give people a break from it.
I agree.
Podcast such as this.
I absolutely agree.
Especially with two characters such as us. But yes, I had to cancel a show and I had some touring things, but I feel that they will all be moved a few months. I do believe in a few months we'll be back to normal, and we have to live as such.
Well, I hope so. It could be, I hope we don't just keep kicking the can. As of this being out, I think everybody, I don't know, I haven't been paying attention to know how much people know about our dates getting canceled and moved and whatnot, but I know that it's happening, and I hope we don't just have to keep kicking the can because I don't know when it's going to be over with or everything. But it's amazing like how, everybody's trying to like figure out other stuff to do, and, we got the internet, so it's like, as much as it sucks, it's kind of like the best time in the history of the world to have this situation because,
yes,
the internet. So,
absolutely. And now I have another point to bring up, which I think is rather funny. Is you recorded a video called All My Love. Is that the right title?
That's right. That's one of our songs. Yeah.
All right, and you recorded it at the Southern Theater in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh yeah, that was a really cool place. That's right.
Now, because I performed there,
cool.
And I recognized it. I recognized the lights around the archway.
Oh yeah,
and the floor and the flooring because it's a dance space. How did you come about to film that at that space?
Well, that was basically Jake Round from Pure Noise, I think he was the one who lined it all up, got us in touch with the producer of the music video, or director, I guess, of the music video. And they just had it all set up. And it worked for us because I don't know if you notice, but lots of times we're hanging out in Madison, Wisconsin. That's kind of, anyway near there. We're always kind of like around about there as far as our hideouts and stuff goes. So, Minneapolis is right near there. And so that worked out great. And the venue, that was a great place to do something like that. It has kind of like a classic look to it that I think they were looking for. And it's always nice to visit Minneapolis too. I don't know what you think about that city, but I love it.
I spent 5 years there, and that's where my creative adventure began.
Oh, really?
Roughly 10 years ago, I was in Minneapolis. I'd fled Boston. I'd fled a kidnapping attempt against me and Carlisle.
Holy shit.
Only to move to Minnesota, and then he ran away.
Oh.
But yes, so I did. I lived in a beautiful home in Minneapolis, and just began exploring expression at open mic nights and cafes, and then originally I was only playing the guitar a little bit, and then I began to play the guitar more and more. But that wasn't until I left. I moved back to New York.
So you were like fully fledged. So you were like a full like person by the time you started playing guitar, because. That's crazy sounding to me, because like I started playing when I was a little kid, and I still kind of suck at it, but you're amazing at it. So I guess maybe there's still hope that if I actually decided to start practicing, I could be like real good and like write all sorts of shreddy metal riffs and stuff.
Well, what's important for your playing style is that you are in the pocket with your bass player and the drummer, and I hear all that when I listen to your music, so you're A-okay.
Yeah, that's true.
And everyone is called to express different things on the instrument based on the style of music that they create or innovate. So some people like to do a lot of playing fast or lead playing, but some people, they're not called to it. There's no compulsion that anyone should play guitar that way at all. It really is up to you.
Yeah. Oh, that's so whimsical, Mrs. Smith. I appreciate that. And
you're welcome.
Yeah. All right. So you were in Minneapolis. You in spending like 5 years there, you say.
Yes, performing anywhere that they would have me. Community, condo complex, community rooms, drag bars, vaudeville shows, burlesque shows.
Oh, yeah. It seems
I
like a good city for that, too, because it's like it's a pretty big city. Like, people don't think of, it being, it's not New York, it's not LA, but it's like a good sized city. It's got a lot going on there, right? Like, that seems like a good breeding ground for anybody to like kind of come up. And, like they obviously had a real good punk scene there for a while. So yeah, that's interesting that you got your roots there, kind of.
It's very manageable. It's a very manageable city, and I was building my act and building my stage moves, my stage costumes.
Oh yeah.
Which songs I would play, and so I was really workshopping, and then I felt called to return to New York. I've lived in New York a couple times, and so I felt called to return to New York. I had an off-Broadway show that I did,
oh, wow.
And then that collapsed into interpersonal calamity.
Oh, no.
And I separated from a co-creator, and I was awash. I was washed up yet again on Cape Cod, Provincetown, Massachusetts.
Oh, snap. I heard that's a nice place, though.
I began playing guitar on the sidewalk.
Oh.
Yep. And that was where I started playing guitar on the sidewalk, and that created the whole guitar adventure.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's amazing. So what exactly are your live shows like? Because I've seen you. I honestly, I'm only familiar with your social media presence. I've obviously never seen you live, but from what I know, you're just a kick-ass shredder who's looking for a cat. But what else is there? Like, what can I expect from a live show?
Well, I'm also a singer.
As a question.
I'm also a singer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what's that?
I guess
Yes,
I've
I
heard
do
you sing before
so,
too. I should have said that as well.
so I lead when I perform in New York. I have a band. I have a full
cool.
band, and they're all progressive rockers, so they can really play.
Oh yeah.
And we do a mix of originals, which tend to be in the kind of shred guitar, comedic. You know, I have my song Cat Jam. I have a song I do called the Bob Ross Technique.
Oh,
And we kill those, and there's videos that go with them, video projections.
nice.
And then we do covers, but sort of rejiggered covers. So we do songs by ABBA, Taylor Swift, Metallica, Van Halen, Joe Satriani.
That's great.
But they all have a twist.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of improvisation. Now, the venue will dictate how much comedy is interspersed in the show. So if I'm doing a show at, say, Joe's Pub at the Public Theater, that is more of a cabaret show. And so I would do more storytelling. But if I'm at the Bowery Ballroom, it's going to be more like a concert with physical movements. And so it's but when I tour, I typically tour solo, and I perform with backing tracks just for the affordability of it and the portability of it.
Oh yeah.
And I do all kinds. I mean, I've done different types of shows. Sometimes I'm an opener, or sometimes I do a full cabaret evening. So it depends on the venue and the audience.
That's great. Oh, well, now I need to know if you're ever coming to Europe. Have you done Europe?
Well, I'm set to be in Ireland. I have been in Europe. I did Vienna and Italy. I did a clinic tour in Italy. I'm set to perform in Ireland in September, and I'm just hoping that it's going to be maintained, and then from there there'll be some kind of a European tour, we hope. Yeah,
well, you should do it, and I'm hiding out somewhere in Germany right now. I won't say exactly where to protect the innocent or whatever, but I would love to see you if you come here, and that would be great. I love like touring around in Europe.
How did you end up in Germany?
Just running from the cops, basically. Actually, not even so much running from the cops as much as like the laws here they're kind of like in some ways more strict than in the States, but I'm less afraid of getting shot. So it's like, you can like rob a liquor store or something, and they won't the cops won't put a toy gun on you and shoot you and be like, hey, he had a gun. Oh, it was a toy? Well, I guess I can't tell the difference. I'm just a cop. Whoop-de-doo. And then, they get away with murder and stuff. That don't really happen here as much. So it's kind of like for my own good in a way that I can still be the person that I am and not have to worry about dying, early. That's kind of the gist of it, basically.
His name's Intruder Green.
That's right.
And he fled so far to Germany.
Yeah.
He fled there so he can commit his crimes more freely. Intruder Green.
All right. I love it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Nobody's really done music on this podcast before, and it's a funny thing because I think people when they listen to podcasts, they're like, oh, I listen to music all the time. I want to get away from that, listen to people talking. But why not have both?
Yes, and what do people mostly talk about on your podcast? Just with the music? They talk about music.
Yeah, it depends on who I have on. People probably noticed that I like to try to get a little bit of everything really. I try to get people that are behind the scenes. Last time I did this, I had on our I think the last episode was Anka Kramer, who was our first tour manager the first two times we came over to Europe as Mass Intruder. And she's working for a big company now and everything. So I kind of talked to her about how the coronavirus and all that is affecting things over here in general or the world in general. because, it's putting a lot of people out of work and all that. And again, I don't want to get too into that now because it's all anybody's fucking talking about these days. But
Right.
I also, I try to like hit up friends who are in bands and stuff. And they're the hardest fucking ones to get a hold of, to be honest, because like, they're always on tour, and it's like sometimes you meet up on tour or you have a tour with people, and it's like, oh yeah, we got to do that podcast. And then every night it's like, dude, I'm tired. I don't want to talk right now. And, it happens. But, I try to mix it up a little bit and try to get some people that are behind the scenes and also the people who are always on stage performing and whatnot. And yeah, we do.
And when you tour with people.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, yeah, we do generally talk about the music and the music industry, but I also like to dig, into people's lives and like find out more about them. And I would love to find out more about you as far as like what spurred you on to playing guitar and everything. I know that you were going to go with something else, so like let's cover that first.
Well, when you tour with people, is it like summer camp where you have a bosom friend on the bus and then you think you're going to be really close and then they don't return your calls?
Yeah, a little bit, not really. I mean, people are pretty cool these days, but I know I do the same thing with people where it's like, shit, I really want to get in touch with this person, and like they fucking message me and I really want to respond, but I don't know exactly what to say because maybe they ask me a question that has to do with like scheduling something. And I'm like, I don't know. So I'm just going to not respond right now. But I've got,
I do that all the time.
Yeah, I think everybody probably does, but I've gotten better at it where I'm just like, well, you know what, bud? I don't know right now. And that's my answer. But I definitely do want to like do something. Because, it's important to keep, people that you care about close to you. And one way of doing that is not just blowing them off and being like, hey, I don't have time to like give you a definite answer right now, but I'm responding. So, I didn't just like, lose your number or something.
Yes, we have to approach, not avoid.
Exactly.
But
I
sometimes
think that's important.
people say things where they say, where I say to them about a podcast, I don't think you did this, but like, oh, when do you want to do it? Oh, anytime. When do you want to do it? Oh, God. I don't know. And especially right now, because I have so much free time, and it's sort of like I could do it anytime, but maybe I don't want to do it. And I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like fun. You could do it anytime, but you could do anything anytime. So it's like, yeah, well, we're not going to do it right now, so maybe tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes and you're like, shit, I started doing something else instead. Let's not do it today or something. I don't know. It's hard to set priorities and whatnot. Yeah, it's such a weird thing right now, especially because it's like it's hard to set priorities. You don't know what you're gonna be wanting to do from day to day, and it goes for everybody, I think. But we got on this. Wait, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, but we got on. We got this together pretty quick. I've definitely got some buds that like are people I talk to regularly that I know would be into doing it, and they're just like, yeah, they're doing that. They're just kicking the can down the road and being like, wait, let's do it then. Let's do it now. Let's do it later. And
come on, guys, knock it off. Come on, get on board.
Well, that's the other thing is, I started doing this about a year ago, and back then it was like, I'm trying to get this fucking side hustle going for like when Master Intruder ain't on tour or whatnot, or like when we are on tour, I'll meet some cool dudes and like we'll get some good podcasts going, and stuff I can put out later. And then I was only doing it like 2 episodes a month, but now my whole thing for this year was I want to do it once a week, and then I don't know, stuff happened, life got crazy. And suddenly I was like, oh my God, it's the end of January and I ain't done a fucking episode yet. And so now I'm getting on it though. People are starting to call me, which is cool. And yeah, it's kind of like getting in gear. And now that everything is on lockdown, it's kind of like, I got plenty of other stuff to do, but other people don't. So, hopefully we can make more of this happen. And it's a good way to pass the time, like sometimes maybe people just want to have a conversation on in the background and they're sick of having a TV on or whatever. I don't know if people even have TVs these days. Do you have a TV?
Well, I am nesting. I'm in refuge.
Oh yeah.
With a young artist friend who I patronize,
Nice.
and he's a documentary filmmaker, and I am in his front room in Brooklyn. Now he just received a television from his father, a big screen TV, and every night we watch films.
That's probably worth a lot of
When I say
money.
films, I mean films.
Yeah.
We watch one film a night. We've watched foreign films. We're exploring the Criterion Collection.
Oh yeah, that's good
we
stuff.
watched The Player the other night. We're really trying to keep it interesting, not just
Marvel
Netflix
movies.
is such a drain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we do now have a television.
All right. So how much do you think it's worth on eBay?
I don't know. We just got it. We don't want to sell it yet.
Well,
now we have been watching movies on a computer, but maybe we could get rid of that computer.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could make a choice, but you use your computer for other things probably. I mean, whatever you want to get rid of, I know a guy.
Well, that's the thing. I think Intruder Green, I think it's...
Yeah.
I'm just going to call you Green. Green, I think it's a good idea to keep things professional between us, and
that's probably right.
If it relates to the music business, I'm happy to refer you to any colleagues. For instance, if you need guitar strings or an endorsement of some sort.
Oh, I definitely could use that.
But as far as, cash, exchanging cash, especially over wire transfer to Germany, I just think it's better to just, I'm going to put up a boundary, a loving boundary, and say, no, thank you.
Okay. I will take that because it's a loving boundary. I hate those boundaries that aren't loving. Like, when people try to build walls and stuff, those ones suck. But I would take a loving boundary. I appreciate that, and you being straight up with me about those things.
Well, I'm guessing that you come from a household with no boundaries, and so I'm just throwing this little psychological profile together based on what I know of you, which is that you're an international criminal. You flee the law. You also have ambivalent relationships with us. On one hand, you run from authority. On the other hand, you ingratiate yourself to authority, have authority on the road with you doing striptease dances. So I think there's obviously a rich psychological profile. But I'm going to guess you grew up without boundaries. Little Green did not know, how to say no or yes, or when to say no or yes.
Yeah, that's probably true. Hi, Intruder Maniacs. Are you in a band? The answer is, of course you are. Everybody's in a fucking band these days. Anyway, if you're in a band, congratulations. I'm making the worst financial decision of your life, aside from taking out college loans or something. Yeah. Now, there is a way to lessen the burden of such a financial decision. It's called merchandising. And Stupid Rad Merch Company is all ready to meet your merchandising needs. You want some t-shirts? Got a tight deadline you need them printed on? And because you booked a tour less than a month out and you didn't get canceled like everybody else's tours did, how about a bunch of weird random trinkets like keychains, medallions, and what about koozies? Like everybody likes koozies. Koozies are great because they keep your drink cold and your hand warm, or vice versa, depending on what you're drinking. Stupid Rad Merch Company can get all these made for you. Stupid Rad Merch Company is an in-house artist who can help you with your designs of stuff. They're still a small enough company that they pay special attention to you and your special needs. Because, everybody's got special needs. Like, you probably mostly. And they even got a web store. That's where the real magic is. You go on tour and you sell your stuff, but chances are you're going to have some left over, or some fans are going to feel like left out because they didn't have enough money to buy something at your show. So they go on to stupidradmerch.com and find stuff from your band on there. They'll take care of all your production and shipping fulfillment needs. So go ahead, go on to Stupid Rad Merch Company's web store right now and check out all the tight bands that are already on there. They got a bunch of them, like at the Bomb Pops and like the Bad Cop and stuff. It's all good. All sorts of cool swag. And right now, if you go on there and at checkout, you use the code PRISON, you can get 15% off all of the Stupid Rad Merch branded apparel at stupidradmerch.com. Go check it out.
stupidradmerch.com
players. I bet you thought you were shit out of luck when it comes to finding your dream guitar or amp. You know, you go on some auction site or something and it's all crap. Yeah. Well, that's because, you know, you gotta look in the right place. And the right place is Yeah Man's Vintage and Used Guitars. They got exactly what you're looking for. Now, I know what you're thinking. Aren't they located in like Switzerland or something? Yeah, man, they are. Bern, Switzerland to be exact. But you know, you can get on the internet and you can go check out their website, yeahmansguitars.com, and you can order stuff on there. So, you know, it don't really matter where the heck you are in the world. You can just get on their website and find all sorts of cool stuff that you're looking for. And you might not even know that you wanted it until you see it on there. And there's a lot of good stuff. If you got something specific you're looking for and need some help finding it, just hit up Yeah Man Guitars on the electronic mail. That's the email. It's like 21st century and you got email and websites. It's like amazing. Some people will call it magic. Some people will call it science. I just call it, I don't know, crazy shit. yeahmansguitars@gmail.com. As far as email goes, it's where you email them. And while you're at it, get your band a tour in Europe and stop by the shop. Michael and the rest of the crew would love to meet you, I'm sure. And you could tell them Green sent you. Yeah Man's Vintage and Used Guitars. I don't remember the past too good because of all the partying and being on tour and stuff. But yeah, I would say that's about right. And
that's true for me as well. That's
Yeah.
true for me as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that kind of, for a lot of people who are into showbiz, as I like to call it, because as much as it's about music, you know, like we started out in a punk rock band, I like to do like comedy and stuff too. And like be on stage and, you know, whatever I could do to like, I don't know, not just to be the center of attention, but to like, sort of like move people, I guess you could say. It's like, you know, it's like with making movies. It's like, what are you doing? You're moving people. What are you doing when you make music? You move people. It's like you move them with their emotions, and sometimes they dance, or sometimes they like get in their seat and they're on the edge of the seat and they're moving. So it's like anything I can do like that, that's showbiz. And I feel like that is a lot of what people go through in their early lives to end up being in showbiz. It's like, maybe it's that whole like thing where you just run a big gamut of emotions early on, and you kind of train to like, I don't know, recognize that, or maybe you don't recognize that and you just don't have any, maybe it's like a loss of filters and stuff. I don't know. You got any ideas about that? Because I'd love to get to the bottom of this.
There's a fantastic book called The Soul's Code by James Hillman, who's a post-Jungian thinker. And I had an analyst who was analyzed by his analyst. Yeah. And what he said, you know, what we just don't know. It's a chicken and egg problem, because creativity, the creative ability, also tracks with neuroticism. It tracks with anxiety. People who are creative are also very anxious people. Now, did the anxiety cause the creativity? Is the creativity cause the anxiety? Is it a childhood issue? It may be a little bit of both, but they do correlate. Now, what I take away from that for myself is the openness and the ability to sort of drill down into the interesting idea mentally. The neurological activity is somewhat similar to my ability to drill down to the worst possible result of any given situation, i.e. anxiety.
Oh, yeah. That is how anxiety works, isn't it? I never even really thought about that.
Yeah, and so what you hope is that you can rein in one and leave the other. And I've been, you know, a lot of us are on medication. A lot of us have diagnoses. I personally am bipolar. Yeah. And you just work with it. You know, you try to not sort of cauterize the good stuff, but sort of dampen down the mood swings. For me, it tends to be mood swings, you know.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I know what you mean. Totally. And now, do you feel like being on medication has ever like hindered you or anyone you know from like being creative? Because sometimes people try to self-medicate too, and that can be worse, you know?
It's very hard, and I would never judge anyone for self-medicating, because sometimes people just have to reach for what they think will work. I would
Sure.
urge them, stop, be careful,
Yeah.
because you can end up dead these days. The drugs
Yeah.
are very dangerous. But I would never judge anyone for whether it's food or whether it's sex or whether it's work or people, or everyone's doing the best they can. For myself, I have had experiences where psychiatric medications have been very destructive.
Oh,
I will
yeah.
not lie. It is true.
Like prescribed
Doctors
stuff.
will not agree with you. What's that?
Yeah. You mean like prescription stuff, like stuff that's totally legal? You got it, like a doctor gave it to you.
Yes, that the doctor said will help you with your mental problems. And I took it and went bonkers. I went berserk. And they will say, oh, no, that's the illness breaking through. No, I know what my typical mindset is, and I know when I'm got something going on. So you do and I'm not saying that to dissuade people, but it's to say when you begin to work with these medications, do so in a stable situation, your living situation, your relationships. You should have a therapist. When I finally got stable, I had a counselor, a social worker, and a psychiatrist. It took a team. And it was after several hospitalizations. So it can take a team, but just be aware, watch, have other people. Am I acting strange? Because these medications can trigger mania. They can trigger real additional problems.
Yeah.
And I had to go through all of them, all the antidepressants, all the antipsychotics, until I found the ones that work for me.
Sure. I believe it to be true. So with that journey in mind, does that lead you to possibly be more creative, having to go through all that, or is it just a fucking bummer?
I have my most creative times in my life have been when I've been properly stabilized.
Yeah.
And medicated. But I tend to be on lower doses than normal people, and there is unfortunate breakthrough of symptoms. But I don't want to be snowed by the medication. But my experience was when I was properly medicated and treated, my productivity went off the charts. Because the illness prevents me from focusing.
Yeah.
It distracts me. The idea is that I'm going to be in thrall of some type. I'm not the type that has a manic episode where I create and create and create. It's not like that. It's different. For me, I can't be productive because I'm so distracted. So when it quiets down and I can sit still, I can get something done.
I believe that to be true. I feel like I'm in the same boat. I've never been on medication for anything, but I feel like I can understand what you're saying right now. Absolutely.
Well, I've never talked about this. Intruder Green.
Oh, shit. Really? I do this sometimes. It's probably because I don't really fucking prepare for these interviews too good. Like, and sometimes it bites me in the butt, but sometimes it leads us to where we are right now with a new song.
His name's Intruder Green.
That's right.
Get you to talk about your meds on a podcast now during coronavirus. I think this is a hit.
I think it is a hit. I think maybe I should take all those bits that you've done so far and I'll fucking glue them together, or however it works. I don't know. Maybe I need to like print it out on laser print and put all the sound waves together and then like run it back through, and then it'll make the song happen again. Is that how copy and paste works? I don't know. But yeah, and then it'll be like a full song. It'll last like 20 whole seconds.
What's that? Now tell me, do you record the riffs into a computer? Is that how you share your riffs across the miles?
No. We haven't really done it yet. I mean, we did the last album. Oh, God damn, was that like 2 years ago? We recorded that last album a year before we actually released it, I think. Or it might not have been a whole year, but it was like a while. And it was kind of weird because we went for so long without doing an album, and then we did that one, and then we waited even longer to actually release it. But yeah, I haven't been over here that long. And honestly, the way we kind of do things more is, I don't know. I find out when it's time to do stuff. I come and show up, and we figure out whether or not Yellow's in prison, or if Purple's coming with us on this one, which is great. You know, I take either one. They're both great. I would love to figure out a way that we could have them both on tour, actually. But you know, yeah, I just kind of show up, and then like if we got songs to work on, we work on them, and we go into the studio. We do a little bit of writing in the studio too, especially with Roger from Less Than Jake. He did he did the last album and he did the last EP, and you know, he's so open to being experimental with stuff that we end up doing a lot of stuff in the studio. And I guess we always kind of have, even with the first two albums, we did a lot of that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It's the creative process. It's always changing for us, and yeah, I don't know. I like to like not have any specific way to do it. We just kind of like, you know, figure it out as we go. How about you? What's your creative process?
My creative process. Well, I write with the live experience in mind.
Oh, that's good.
I write into the computer. I'm still learning. I'm learning how to make beats. Yeah. I'm going to take the Timbaland Masterclass. I got a free pass to the Masterclass series.
Are you going to do like a hip hop
social
R&B
service
album?
Agency? I'm not going to do hip hop. But I'm interested in beats that aren't confined to a drummer.
Sure, I believe in that.
And my what I will probably do is write the demos. I'm writing demos right now. I'll write the demos, and then we will work on them with the band.
Yeah.
To loosen them up and then record. But I need to start getting really productive really soon. I really do.
Do you got like deadlines coming up or something?
They won't be specific with me. There's like, well, you should be doing demos and then
if they're record people, they probably always want you to be doing demos. They're like, come out with more product for us to sell.
Right. Well, and I don't know what you think of this, but I feel that the whole schedule, it's basically always on with social media. I mean, these days I was going very hardcore on social media, and then I collapsed last year. I had to stop. I stopped posting for about a month because it's just this expectation by the fans that you're always going to be posting every day and entertaining them, but they don't pay for any of this stuff.
That's right. I know, that's the crazy thing. It's like, I wish I could make money with that, but whatever. But maybe it'll happen someday. I'm not an influencer yet. Gotta get to that. Get to that level, you know. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, no. I like that you say. Oh wait, no. I'm having too many thoughts here. I will say, as far as like thinking about drums that aren't reclined or refined to a drummer. Yeah. There is one beat on one of the Mass Intruder albums that we totally put in like extra drum beats, and Red had to go back and learn them later. He did it like while we were practicing live, and it was obviously a major pain in his butt, but he got it. So yeah, if anybody,
he got it. Oh, he didn't have to do a track.
No, he figured it out. He figured it out, and I couldn't believe he figured it out when it finally happened. And now he can just do it like in his sleep. But when he first got it, I was like, holy crap. This is the best drummer I will ever want to drum with. I'm not going to say Red's the best drummer in the world, because he's definitely not. But he's like probably the best drummer as like a creative person that I've ever got to, play with and ever would want to, honestly. Like, sure, I'll play with other drummers, and I would love the chance to play like, well, you just recently played with like Kirk Hammett, right? I saw that on the internet. How did that happen?
Yeah. Well, I have been saying for years that I'm the number one abuser of the wah-wah pedal. To your listeners who don't know, the wah-wah pedal is that wow, 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 wow kind of
brown chicken, brown
70s
cow.
sort of Jimi Hendrix sound.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And I've been saying I'm the number one abuser of it because I love it. I can't keep my foot off of it. And people would say, well, Kirk Hammett has the reputation of being the number one abuser. And I said, it's not true. I am, and I'll prove it. I challenged him to a wah-off. And he saw that video and accepted the challenge. And it took us a year to get it all together because of his schedule is incredible.
Yeah, there you go.
I was very honored that that the many of the Metallica logistics team really believed in this and wanted to make it happen and helped make it happen. It was great fun.
That sounds like fun. Oh man, that's great. But see, like you took you a year to do it, but you know, you kept the vision alive and eventually it happened, and that's great. It's just like making podcasts. Basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't get impatient. You know, you got easy does it, but do it.
That's right.
But don't be impatient.
That's right. I believe it to be true. That's a good metaphor for life, I think, pretty much. I would love to keep talking to you forever because I feel like there's so much more I want to know about you. But, you know, we can like keep chatting on the social medias and stuff because I don't, you know, I try to make my podcast not too long because otherwise people are like, oh shit, this podcast is 2 hours. This is probably real interesting, but that's too long, you know, like it doesn't matter who you're even talking to.
They just want to listen to it while they do the dishes. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But I did want to like give you a chance because there's two things that I want to cover before we end. You did mention that you wanted to know more about Officer Bradford. I don't know if we covered him enough or if you got other questions you want to ask or what.
Well, I'm worried about him. I'm worried about him because I think he's a very confused person. Now, you are obviously a real life person. I understand. I'm a real life person. This is real life after all.
Absolutely.
I have, you know, everything you've said to me is believable and makes sense that you are who you are.
That's right.
Officer Bradford, however, is on one hand appears in your videos and in your live performances and in photographs as a law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
And then at other times he appears as a young man who is a bartender at something called the Blackbird.
Oh yeah, I've seen those posts.
This is confusing. Job?
I would tell you that I'm just I would tell you that I'm just as confused because but it could be a thing where this is what's wrong with America, where like, you know, you talk about like police violence and everything and why these cops are like taking out their anger on maybe it's minorities or whatever. They just got to do this thing, and it's very tragic, and I don't mean to make light of that, but you know, it could be that there's not enough of a good life for these cops so that they feel the need to basically, I don't know what the word is, to moonlight. Well, yeah, but like some cops are like, oh, I'm going to be an asshole because I'm not getting enough for my shitty job that is like real hard to do. But other cops are just like, well, you know, I'll just also bartend or something like that. I think that's probably what it is. He's moonlighting.
No, Green. I think it's much worse than that. Much worse than that because it's not. If you, for instance, there were photos of you working at Trader Joe's and they were just like, oh, look, Intruder Green has a day job. We would all be like, we love Intruder Green. We love Green, or the German version of it, you know, Tata Joe's. We would all be happy for you.
That's probably a German
and
word.
We would understand.
Yeah.
You know, we would understand the music business. We wouldn't judge. It's not about the fact that Officer Bradford has a job other than being your parole officer. It's the fact that when he appears at this job, he appears as an entirely different person. He doesn't have his mustache. His face changes. He looks like his own little brother.
Yeah.
He's and that I think points to something much more disturbing, almost a split personality.
Oh man, that could be true. I mean, I don't know. That might be. I mean, I never really, we've done some DJ gigs together and he definitely lets loose a lot more than when he's like just, even on stage. Well, that's the thing though. He's definitely, you know, he's always like trying to keep us grounded when we're on tour and stuff. But then, like you said, he gets on stage with us and then, well, you haven't seen us play live though yet. That might be the thing that's missing
videos.
here.
Believe me, I've watched the videos.
All right.
I've seen.
But have you seen a full live show?
Fantastic you guys are, and it's. I'm just saying, there's just something amiss. There's something amiss.
Well, I agree, and not just because he's a cop. That he's a mysterious
Watch
fellow.
him. When you watch him, please keep an eye on him. I'm worried.
We're watching him as much as he watches us. I guarantee that. He might not believe it to be true, but it is true because we have to. And, as much as we complain about Officer Bradford because he's got a job to do and whatnot, and part of that job is being a party pooper. Sometimes, he gets on stage and maybe he's got a little of that whiskey in him and he likes to go a little haywire, and then we really enjoy that. And ultimately, things could be a lot worse because, as I was talking about earlier, there's some cops that are just, they feel like the need, not that Officer Bradford's not a dick. I mean, he's a cop, so, he's going to be a little bit that way, but it could be a lot worse. So for us, we definitely have a, what do you call it, like a vest, an interest vest, vested interest of...
an interest vest.
Yes, an interesting vest in keeping him in our, as our regular PO. And plus, I won't lie, the fact that we've been touring for it's getting on to being close to a decade here, I think. That definitely makes a difference. And, it's nice. It's nice to have a face that even if he's a potty pooper sometimes. And I guarantee to you, I promise you, Mrs. Smith, in fact, that we will keep an eye on him and keep him, from doing anything too stupid. Because everybody knows that we're real good at not doing stupid stuff.
It's all about who protects the protector.
Yeah,
who
watches the
babysits
watchman.
Babysitter, and that's all. I'm going to leave it there. I leave it there.
All right. Well, I think everyone will appreciate your words on that. The one other thing, unless there was something else you wanted to bring up, but I changed this thing a while back because I used to do like would you rather questions, like would you rather this or that, and those are fun, but obviously then they don't really have much to do with my show or Mass Intruder or nothing. So now I've been since somebody brought it up, I've been asking people about crime stories. Do you have any?
Yes.
Would you care to tell it?
Do I?
Yeah.
The most famous crime story I was a part of is that in the 90s, I was kidnapped and held for ransom by a Norwegian death metal band and suffered the Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh my goodness.
And that is how I became the guitarist I am today. They kept me in a closet for 3 months with nothing but a guitar.
Well, that would do
and it was what's heartbreaking is that Patty Hearst really stole my thunder in the 70s because it was a very Patty Hearstian story. And so nobody was interested. I didn't get any press. I didn't get any attention. Nobody even showed up to the trial. There was a trial. There were crimes. Yeah. I didn't commit crimes. They did. I'm not to blame. They are. They died in a fire.
Well, yeah, they're a Norwegian death metal band. That's probably the only way they can die.
Yeah, well, as the flames, of course, tears streaming down my face as they died because we had become close.
Yeah,
tears, and
so you were
my
there.
Tears, of course, reflected the flame.
Oh yes,
and I just thought they died how they lived.
I can see
they're where they wish to be, which is hell.
Yeah, that's right. I believe it to be true, and I can see that that's very visual. I wonder if that's an album cover that you need to dedicate to that band at some point, or maybe that already happened. I don't know, but I appreciate that. Yeah.
Tears of fire.
Yeah, why not? That sounds painful. And it sounds like emotionally painful as well as physically painful. But, I'm glad you didn't die with them.
Well, I mean, it was hot. There was a lot of heat, but I was at a distance. I was on a hill. It was in the middle of the woods. So, I mean, it didn't harm me.
Yeah. All right. So you weren't the perpetrator of this fire, were you? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
It's really not known. It's not known.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
It's just not known, and it happened so fast. And I ran out, and the door. There was no way to open the door. They were on the other side of the window. The screams, and something got locked, and I just found myself backing up into the woods as it just went up. so fast. It was so fast. And the fire inspector, he couldn't make sense of it. He couldn't. And I was already gone. I was on a plane, so.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
No way.
Back to New York or wherever. That sounds good.
To New York.
Excellent. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to bring up before we end this, but I think it's about that time.
No, I hope our paths cross. I think Mrs. Smith, Mass Intruder.
Oh, for sure.
Fun on some festival bill. I would love to hop on stage and sing a song.
Oh yeah,
and
we could definitely make that
shred
happen.
with you guys anytime.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it will happen. No telling what the timelines are going to be like these days, but yeah, let me know when you're in Europe, or I'll keep my eyes and ears peeled to the social medias on that, and appreciate you and everything you do in the world of music and the real world as well. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Green, and safety and health to you and yours, and to all your listeners. We're going to get through this. It won't be easy, but we'll get through this, and good times are ahead. I am sure of it. So you take care.
All right, you too. We'll talk to you soon. And that's it for the Intruder Green podcast. I want to thank Mrs. Smith again for being on it. You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Intruder Green. The Intruder Green call-in line is +1 608 535 9608. Patreon.com/Intruder Green if you want to become a producer of the show. The Intruder Green podcast is produced by Colin Bennett, hair and makeup by Genevieve Smith, set design by Dylan Raymer, catering Matthew Hendershot, lighting Squeak Lights, Rahway, New Jersey. Our theme song is Particles by Type Bros. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Also sickness. Oh my God, are you?
You can't be seen. Intruder Green can't be seen. Because it's an audio podcast.